Segment 2, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine. Check us out on the web, www.ntnm.org. You don't have to put in the WWs anymore. Over 12,000 shows watched on the web. Unreal. Thanks to my entire technical crew, Sonny Hersh, who puts together the website. Community policing, check out camps24.org for the 24th District. And CAMPS is community policing. You see something going on in the neighborhood, you want to talk directly to the police that patrol the streets of your neighborhood. That's exactly who you want to talk to. So, make it a point, not just to show up to the meetings, but to talk to the police in general. Don't be afraid to call 911. They don't bite. They not only don't bite, you're going to find a much better neighborhood if you do. The point is you need to communicate directly with the police, and that is the key to all this stuff happening. Because if you see something happening and they don't know, don't expect them to do anything about it. Somebody needs to tell them. Anyway, it is now time to present my favorite hospice chaplain, your favorite hospice chaplain. That doesn't sound right, but whatever. We're talking about Rabbi Pinchas Eisenbach. Rabbi Eisenbach, how are you?
Thank you.
And of course, and they changed the name, but you are with the Midwest Palliative, I'm reading off this card, Midwest Palliative Hospice Care Center, and you have the only Jewish hospice anywhere near here in the area, which I think is very commendatory, but you don't just take care of Jewish people, you also take care of non-Jewish people.
We are ecumenical, we deal with all religion.
And you deal with the entire Chicagoland area part, you deal with the North Shore?
We deal with the North Shore, Chicago, the South Side, all over.
So pretty much the whole metropolitan
area. The whole
area.
metropolitan area, correct.
And very good. And not that we wish anybody goes into hospice, but if you're in that situation, I know myself that, people ask, how come you have a hospice chaplain on so often? And it always surprises me how many people see Rabbi Eisenbach and then tell me, he took care of us in our time of need. And, everybody speaks very highly of him, and it's something that unfortunately, is a reality of life. Why don't you give us a little bit of background first, because just about the hospice, and then we'll get into specifics.
Yes, hospice is a way of palliative care, which means comfort care. That when someone on the last stage, the last days or the last months, we want to make sure that the patient is not only comfortable, not in pain, but also that the family understands, comprehends what we are doing. We have a social worker who will explain the dynamics to the family, what to do, and if they have any questions, not to be embarrassed. We have a CNA who comes with baits. We also have a chaplain or a rabbi, and sometimes we work together because some people are religious, some are not, and some are intermarried, so they're afraid, and we try to make them not only comfortable, but to make sure that when we deal with them, that they are not embarrassed to ask any questions, which is very important. And part of our hospice also includes music therapy, where especially nowadays the Jewish holidays are over and people love music. And what is the idea of music? The idea of music is to alleviate not only pain, to make people comfortable, but also there's two types of music. There's a music limited towards, for example, you have a song is limited to a certain amount of words and then it's finished. But you have another type of music.
You're talking about a vocal song.
A vocal song. Yeah. Especially in the holidays or in English or in Hebrew or any other languages, because we have all denominations. A lady asked me if you can sing Turkish, so we got someone to sing in Turkish or in Spanish or in Polish, in Russian or in Yiddish, does not matter. We have people
music is very much a universal language, and as a matter of fact, people don't even realize it. I've done marketing, I used to learn this stuff in school. But, if you walk into a supermarket, often you'll hear music in the background you won't even notice. Right. Because they want to get you into a certain mood. Same thing in the elevators. They want to calm you down. Right. So music is very instrumental in terms of these sort of things. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the Gemara talks about music has certain powers that are only taught by Kishuf in certain ways.
Right.
So, and if you didn't understand that, we're not going to explain it to you. Sorry. But in any event, so you were talking about the vocal side, and you have people doing things in all these different languages to soothe whether it's the Turkish people or the whatever country they're from, or whatever their native language is.
Whatever language they need, and not only that, the thanatology is not only instrumental, but it's also soothing where people love it. For example, I had one time a Russian lady, and I asked her, "Would you like some music?" She said, "I don't understand," so I translated in Yiddish. She said, "Okay, let her do it."
Okay.
After this lady played the instrument, the harp. She told me, I want to tell you, she was pretty good. And even she spoke a different language. The harpist started to get a smile. She said, boy, at least she appreciated me. And they didn't understand each other, but the idea of the music was suiting her, and she loved it.
Yeah, the thing is that without the words, people can insert their own words or their own ideas.
And this is the whole idea of music. They can insert their own emotion and feelings. It's more than words limited. For example, you have a song and there's only a certain amount of words and it's finished.
Yeah.
But a thanatologist and music as a way of expression which continues to suit people, and people like to hear. In Hebrew it's called a niggin, a song, especially in the holidays. You sing a lot of songs which infuses body, spirit, and mind, and everyone loves it.
No, it sounds very nice. You had a recent event, of course. Now, even though technically, I should explain to people, we shoot things in advance here. So even though it's actually before the event's already happened.
Right.
But, you had a whole event to try to emphasize to people. You had an event on October 11th.
Yes.
Recently passed that, they try to emphasize the importance of music and these sort of things and how, you're using it to help people with their emotions. I know myself, you think about things like just, when the Beatles first came to America, what it did to people were going crazy over their music.
Correct.
I mean, music has very powerful effect on people, beyond question.
For example, we had the stories of life explaining how we help people with music. About a year ago, I had a patient in one of the nursing homes where the family was not religious. And they told me, Rabbi, we don't need anyone today. I said, okay, but I told them, here's my card and the door is open. 3 months later, they called me. They said, you said the door is open. I said, of course, can you come? My husband hasn't spoken for 2 weeks, but it's coming very close. Would you mind making a prayer? And Psalm 23 was his favorite prayer. I said, no problem. Before I made a prayer, I asked him, would you like any other prayers? And I started to speak to him in Yiddish. He says to me, of course I speak Yiddish. He says, would you please take a paper and pencil and make sure that my family knows my real Hebrew name.
Oh.
And the family are looking at me. He says, I never knew my husband speaks such a good Yiddish. He said, well, I haven't spoken Yiddish since World War II, but I used to be one time religious. I'm not religious, but I'm not going to go into it. He made sure. And then he tells me on top of it, I'm not only a nice Jew. I said, of course you're a nice Jew. I'm also a Kohen. A Kohen is a priest, which is the highest level in Judaism. We have 3 types. We have a Kohen, a priest, a Levite, and an Israel. So I said, if you're a Kohen, you can pray for me. So he liked it. And they were stunned that the person was talking, but then after he was talking and I wrote down his name and he made me repeat 2 or 3 times, I should make sure that I have his right name in Hebrew. And I showed it to him. He says, good. He says, now, let's sing together because, I'm not that religious, but I have a family that I love. And after World War II, I can show the world that I could look at my beautiful tree and look at my heritage. And he started to sing Shei Boneh Beis Hamikdash, which is a song that
rebuilding
of the temple, but not only rebuilding of the temple, but it's also rebuilding of my life and reminiscing about his trial and tribulation. And the family didn't know half of the stories he told me. They were shocked to hear. And we're saying, and this was the story of life, to reminisce what people have encountered in their life. It's not only a religious in music, it's also expression where people will tell you the last second, the last minute of their lives, and families don't even know about it. And the song helped them. And I told him, I'm not Pavarotti or Rosenblatt, Kosovitsky. He says, I know you're not, it's okay, but let's sing anyway. And he says, you're not too bad. And the family was so stunned that he remembered the prayers by heart and the songs.
Yeah. By the way, actually, you wouldn't want to be Pavarotti right now.
No, I know.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay, but
yeah, it's pretty remarkable that you're somebody who probably didn't sing, 60 years?
Right.
50, 60 years in Yiddish and all that, and all these songs. That's amazing.
And he changed everything to Yiddish, and the family couldn't believe it. He says, Pa, I never know you speak Yiddish. He says, well, now you know. And it was so much closure for the family that he told us his name and he told us his wishes, what he wanted to do. And we sang together, and his end of life, his closure ended up with a beautiful song. To rebuild the temple, Etzoenai, I will lift up my hands to God. God help me. God, even though I went through troubles, and guess what? I still have my children and my wife and grandchildren, and God gave me a beautiful life. And that what meant a lot for the family, that he said how much he loves them and the beautiful songs.
It's really something else. Now, there's stuff you guys provide people. This is all stuff you provide free of charge.
Yes, we have.
I mean, you're a nonprofit organization,
yes.
and you give away most of your services,
yes.
actually.
We have, for example, we have a tape of Rest and Remembrance, which has Hebrew and English songs.
Yeah.
And it's very important that the thanatologists who plays the harp, or the people who play the guitar, we have ladies who do a beautiful job. They play the guitar, and many times they go over with me the Hebrew words to make sure that they pronounce accurately, that it makes sense. And not only that, we also have a Jewish coordinator around the winter where she also plays the guitar for the patients in Hebrew and in English, and they love it. They sing along. Mm.
That's really nice. Yeah, I've met her. She's a nice lady.
Yeah, and this is why it's so important that music always continues, like prayers. We'll pray, but a nigun is always a song.
A nigun is a melody.
A melody is always beautiful because it continues, always singing, and always closure for people that life continues infinite, you know.
Infinitely, right. That's really beautiful stuff. So if people want to contact you and the Midwest Palliative Hospice Care Center, they call
847-467-7423.
Want to repeat that one more time?
847-467-7423.
And that's Rabbi Pinchas Eisenbach, the Midwest Palliative Hospice Care Center. And reading the card, sorry about that, because I used to have a different name, and I always want to refer to the old name. In the meantime, I want to thank you very much, Rabbi Pinchas Eisenbach. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hersh. Join us every whatever day you're watching is the day we're on, and it's on the web. So go to ntnm.org, where you can catch all our shows on the web. I'm your host, Rabbi Meyers. Also, community policing. Get involved in the community. You see anything like going on, if you don't tell the police, they're not going to know. Direct communication with the police is exactly the way to go. It's the right way to do things. Anyway, join us again next week, same time, same bad station. I don't think so. Same time, same place, or on the web anytime you want, day or night. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.